Purpose limitation. Now, principle number two really states that we can only use data, collect it, process it, etc., for the purpose it was collected, unless you obtain consent. And what this principle is trying to do is to make sure that we're not in the wild west of data collection. That we really want to make sure that if we say to someone, we're going to collect your information in order to process a payment because you bought a product from us, it prevents us from then potentially selling that information to a third party or using that information for other purposes within the organization that you haven't disclosed. It's about giving control and certainty. So you're really making sure here that we're collecting information where it is reasonably necessary for your business practices and making sure that unless there are exception applies, only collect sensitive information with consent. Many laws do provide the ability to collect sensitive information without consent, but for the most part, if you think there's sensitive information, we need to make sure that, okay, do we have consent to use that information for this purpose? And then there are principles like collecting it through lawful and fair means. This means, again, making sure that we've been transparent about it, that people have given this information voluntarily and they've given us some form of informed consent. And ideally, it's got to be collected from the individual concerned. So, as you can already see, there's a lot of questions that we can be asking as we set about building our solutions. What was the purpose for this data to be collected? Do we have consent for the use of this information? And what is the nature of that consent? Was it explicit, meaning someone's ticked a box to say, yes, you can use my information for this purpose? Or was it implied in that you've told them you're doing it in a privacy policy or a collection statement, but they haven't expressly given a tick? And there are circumstances where that is allowable as well. But again, the idea here is that you want to make sure that the purposes for which you're about to use this information are in line with the purpose for which it was collected. And if it wasn't, then additional consent may be needed. So again, we don't want to start using information that ultimately might be non-compliant. So that's principle number two, purpose limitation.